Welcome to Retired Time Productions.
This is intro tutorial number 2, and we're going to talk about making the sphere introduction with Magix Movie Edit Pro 2015 Plus. So here's our sample of the sphere introduction, and I'm just going to go over some of the components here just as a brief intro. So firstly, at the top we have our Warriors music from media.com right here, and that's the music you hear in the background. Then we have the sphere loop image, which is right here, and that's called Energy Sphere, and I got that from movietools.info, and we'll go to both of those sites. I'll just briefly show where I got them. And then we have the two titles that fly in right about here. Retired Time is one title, and then the next one down here is Productions. And then at the very bottom we have our voice, where you would announce your channel. I have Welcome to Retired Time Productions, but you could put whatever you want there, and I'll show you how to make that on acapella-group. Okay, so for the Warriors music file here, which is our background music, you can go to media.co.uk, copyright free music. What you do is basically go down and click on this link here, and it takes you to the copyright free music, and then you can go look for your file, and there's several different ones down here. So here's a whole list of files, and the one we're looking for is the Warriors music, which is right here, and then you just click that and download the file, and I just put it over in a folder on my desktop here. Okay, to get the Energy Sphere background video loop, go to movietools.info right here, and then go to Video Background Loops, go to there, and then come down to Energy Loops, and this will list out a bunch of different loops, and some of them are pretty good, so you might want to take a look at them. But the one we're looking for is actually on page 4 right here. So just go to page 4, and there it is right there, and then you can go ahead and download it. So the free one is right here. So you just click that, and that'll begin downloading. Actually, it'll take you to another page, and you just download from there. But the one you want is actually the WMV version of it. You can see that up here, WMV. So you just click download on WMV, and then I just put that in a folder on my desktop with my sound file. Now, to make the voice file or the voice overlay, you can either use your own voice and say, you know, welcome to my channel or whatever, or you can create a synthesized voice, and that's what I've done. So I went to acapella-group.com right here, and then you can go down and pick any voice you want from the drop-down list. Sharon is in there right now, so I'll just go ahead and use that. And you pick your language, and I'm going to use English USA, and then you just type in what you want. So let's go, welcome to my channel. Alright, let's listen to it.
Welcome to my channel.
Alright, so we got that. Now we've got to get the file, and this is the tricky part. What you do is click on an empty space right here. You do a right click. So a right click like that, and then go to, you've got view page source right here, but what we want is view frame source, which is this one right here. So you do, now there you go. So if you go into view frame source, you can see here is the link to the MP3 file that was created. So just copy that, Control C on the keyboard, hold Control and press C. Alright, now we'll go ahead and paste that into a new window, put it up here on the URL bar. So Control V as in Victor, paste it in there, hit enter.
Welcome to my channel.
So you can see it plays right there. Now all we got to do is save it. So right click and do a save as, and I'm going to put it on my desktop in my folder that I created. And then we'll just put acapella in there, dash group, just so I know where I got it from, just to be fair. Now we'll save it, and it appears over here in this window, so we have it now. Now let's look at our sample here. So we want the Warriors audio at the top, then we want the energy sphere loop under that, and then we've got the two titles, and finally the voice overlay for Welcome to My Channel at the bottom. So let's go ahead and start to create those things. So I'm going to open another tab over here and use this arranger to make our student copy. So let's start out. We want the Warriors music at the top, so we'll bring that in. Then we're going to put in the energy sphere, and I'm just dragging these from the folder on my desktop onto the arranger right here. And there's the energy sphere. Now this will ask you to adjust the video resolution to this file, but I just say do not adjust. I want to keep it in full 1080p, the way I'm doing it. So I'll just leave it like that. And you can't stretch out this energy sphere, so it's going to have to be that size. And you'll notice that I'm not using all of the music. I'm going to use a section of it. Okay, and then finally we're going to put in the welcome, which is going to eventually be down the bottom, but I'll just put it here for now. We can just put it anywhere in here, just drop it. So now we can play the music. So you can see I only need a small section of it. Let's go ahead and we'll zoom into this section right here. There we go. Just hitting the plus button over here. You can use plus and minus to shrink and grow the timeline. And so where I've got it now is a good place, right about here where the music starts. Let's move it over maybe just a little more. Let's try that. We probably won't even want that much, but we can go back and look at the sample and just see what we have here. Go up to here. You can see that I've kind of cut it off, like we're right here.
Welcome to Retired Time Productions.
Yeah, so I have that louder part. So it looks like we got it about right. We'll go back here. So that's the section we want. Let's just go ahead and trim it off. So I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to highlight the music, and I'm going to trim that with my razor blade tool right here. And then let's trim off the other end too. Maybe just right there. Alright, now we can discard this piece. And the way I discard a piece is just highlight it and press the delete key on the keyboard. Like that, and that gets rid of it. Now I'll just bring my audio over. Little trick here, you can click on this all tracks icon right here to move everything at once. See how that moves everything at once? Like that. And this button returns the cursor to the front, so this little cursor right here will move over. Now it's right at the start. So now let's move our audio, welcome to our channel that we did on acapella, into place. And I want to put it right about here on the timeline where these drum beats start, the low sounding drum beats. So let's move it in there, and we want to put it down here on the 5th track because we're going to have the two titles that fly in go in these 3rd and 4th tracks right here. Okay, so it'll sound something like this.
Welcome to my channel.
Okay, so now that's in place. We basically have everything we need now as far as files. The rest we can do from right within Magix Movie Edit Pro. Okay, let's take a look at our project, and we'll work a little bit with keyframes. And that is one of the most important things we can do other than saving our project. And I can't emphasize that enough. Always save your project, especially after you've made some major changes. Just go to this File tab here and then go ahead and do Save Project, because something can happen, such as the computer locking up or Magix freezing, and you'll lose everything you've done. So make sure you save it periodically. Okay, now let's look at the keyframes, because they're important for making the effects to the video. So let's go ahead and look at the sample again. And here's our sample sphere, and I have actually gone ahead and soloed the sphere track right here, the sphere video, so we can see only that. And then we can run the pointer along and see just what it does. So you can see it starts out large and then goes down to normal right here. So there's some zooming going on. So let's see how that's done. And it is done with keyframes. So you can see here in this keyframes window under movement effects right here that the size and position is affected right here. And there's a keyframe at the beginning to make it large, and then there's another keyframe part way down that brings it back to normal. So we need to set the normal keyframe first and then go back to the beginning. So the normal keyframe is right about just after the music starts right here. And let's see what else is affected. So if we go to the beginning here, you can see it's really large, and that was probably done with movement effects, and it was probably done with camera zoom perhaps. Yeah, there we go. Under camera zoom you can see I've drawn a little box around this one section. So we want to do that, and we also want to do size and position to make sure it's moved up in the corner. So let's do both of those things now. We'll go back to the student copy. We'll place our marker right after the music starts right here. And we'll highlight, of course, we'll highlight the sphere track. Now, under camera zoom right here, let's go ahead and zoom in on that area right here. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but just get it as close as you can get it, like say right there. We'll zoom in, and then we've already created a keyframe, but we can just hit this create keyframe button again just to make sure. Okay, but actually that is not what we want to do there. We want this to be normal. Sorry about that. So let's go up and hit this double arrow to undo our changes. So the changes are undone. And then just create the keyframe again. And now we have one that's normal. Now let's go to the beginning with this button here. That'll run the marker to the beginning of the object. And now let's do the camera zoom. So we'll take this section, and maybe my mistake there that I made will show you, give you an example of how you can get out of things that you do by hitting this double arrow up here. You can undo the changes. So anyway, let's just get in right about in there. So that's all we need to do there. Let's set the keyframe again just to make sure this keyframe is set. Alright, now let's go to size and position. And you can see it's pretty good there. But if we wanted to change it, we could drag it up a little bit if we wanted to. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's do that. So we made those changes. Now let's just go ahead and save our project. Just real quick, make sure we don't lose them. Now the next thing we need to do is put in the titles. So right here we're going to work on the titles. So let's highlight this first title here, and we'll solo it. So that's all we'll see. Now we can see that it kind of flies in there. Let's take off the fade on it just so we can see it from the beginning. Alright, now let's go up here to effects, and we'll examine some of the movement effects right here. Let's go to, say, size and position. And here's the keyframes involved with it. We've got image size and position, and we've got lens effect. That's all I see there. Okay, let's take off the lens effect and just deal with the image size and position. So here's what it does. Just zooms in from the top. Starts out small and gets bigger. So let's do that one first. Okay, let's go over our student copy. And we'll make a title right here. Let's go to titles. And we'll choose a color. And we just want this pale yellow right here. And then we'll just double click on the preview window here. And go ahead and type in what our title should be, which is Welcome to. Let's start with Welcome to, and then we'll put My Channel under it later. Just do that. Now we can make the title different sizes by just increasing the size. So let's say we want to have it end up about like that for the middle, or say right there. And of course you can select these different buttons here if you want to make it a little bolder or not. I'm just going to leave it like that. Alright, now let's work with positioning it. So we'll go to Effects again, Size and Position. Now when we start out we want it off the screen, and then later on we want it to be, well, let's see here. Better go back to the beginning. All the way to the beginning. Like that. Okay, so now when the sphere moves in and gets right there, we want the title to pop in like it is. That's good. And so, let me think. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we want it to start off the screen right there, and then come in, say, to right about here. So let's go ahead and set a normal keyframe for right there, and then we'll go back to the beginning of the title. Sometimes the cursor gets a little wild here. Put it back at the beginning. I'll have to highlight that again. And at the beginning, we'll move it off the screen and make it a lot smaller too, like right like that. We'll put it up here off the screen, and then we'll just make sure that keyframe's set so we get kind of this effect where it comes in. Now that final keyframe there, we can adjust that one and maybe just put a little bit more in the middle like that, and there we have it. Okay, now let's just go ahead and we'll put the lens effect to it, and that is under I believe it's under video effects. Or this lens correction. Actually, it's under distortion, and lens effect is right here. So we want it to start on this keyframe here, off the screen, and we want a pretty good lens effect going on there. So let's just put it full bore on the lens effect, and we'll set a keyframe, and then we'll go along with that lens effect. And it's going to slowly go back to normal, but let's go ahead and just bring it up to the end here, and then we'll put the lens effect back down so it's normal and set a keyframe. And then maybe we want the lens effect to, let's see what that looks like, by the way, just see what it does. So you saw that lens effect went away pretty quick. So what we'll do here is we'll just go down and we'll copy this keyframe. Just copy it, and then we'll put it right up here near the other one. Say right there. and paste it. Now when we do it, the lens effect will stay on the screen longer. Maybe it could be a little longer than that. Let's move both of these. We can move these keyframes. Like slide this one over, and then slide this one over. We can even slide this upper one over. Alright, now let's see what we got. There we go.
Welcome to my...
Okay, so that looks pretty good. Could be a little slower than that, but you know, you can move these keyframes around where you want them to be and adjust them for whatever you want for your purposes. Okay, now let's just add a little bit of blur to it too. We'll start right at the beginning here, and we'll go ahead and put some blur, pretty much full blur. So when it's coming in, it'll be blurred, and when it gets to the final stages, let's say we'll go this keyframe and make it less blurred there, and set a keyframe, and then we'll make it unblurred totally at the end, right here. Set that keyframe again. Alright, now that should take care of it.
Welcome to my channel.
Okay, let's just go ahead and save it. So let's make this title just a little bolder. We can do that. Just come over here and go into Advanced. And you can see you can add shadow, outline, and all that kind of stuff. So if we wanted the shadow to be a little more bold, we could add that. Make the shadow in there just a little more bold. And then we could click OK. Another thing we can do is pick a different font. Like here's Arial Black. See how much bigger that gets? So we can make it a little bolder that way. And you can pick different, like if you wanted an alien look to it. Hey, I kind of like that. But you know, you can choose whatever you want. There's another one. Hey, let's pick that one. That looks cool. That looks kind of techy. So if we pick that one, that's called, what is that? Nasalization? That's pretty good. Anyway, we'll just go and stick with that one. And if we want to make it a little bigger, we could make it a little bigger. Just go like that. Hey, I like that. That looks nice. Maybe center it up just a little bit. Alright. Now let's play it and see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm liking that.
Welcome to my channel.
Alright, now let's make our second title that flies in from the bottom right corner. So let's just go ahead and we just click that again. And welcome to my channel is what we want, right? Welcome to my channel. Now, this is way too big. So first thing we need to do is reduce the size. We'll have that be a little bit smaller than the other one. And we can keep the same font. Now let's see what we got here. Where'd my titles go? Okay, I see it right there, but it's awfully small. So let's see. It's actually right here. Let's go ahead and solo that so I can see it. There it is right there. Oh, it went down to a size 4. That's too small. Okay, let's go with that right there. Now we got it. Now I'm going to slide this over, just offset it from the other one. Maybe about like that. Get to the beginning of it. Now this one we want it to be off the screen. So I'm going to put it down here. It doesn't want to go, so I'm going to go into Advanced and take off Only Apply Visible TV Area. Take that off. And now I can move it off the screen a little bit. Okay. And if you go into effects, we're actually going to be, what we're affecting is size and position here. So let's go ahead and make a keyframe for that. Right there. I'm going to go ahead and unsolo it right now. Now when we move forward, right about there, let's say we have it start sliding in. So I'll go ahead and grab it, move it up into here, right under the other one. And then I'll make sure I set that keyframe. Now let's see what it looks like. And there we go.
Welcome to my channel.
So we don't need all that that's at the end. So let's go ahead and we'll just chop it off, say right here. It's a good idea to keep your intro short. So I might leave a little extra right there at the end. Let's just go ahead and see what the audio is doing. Yeah, I think we can go right up to where the louder sounds start. And chop it off right there. Just going to hit the razor blade tool and chop off all the extra items. And let's just go ahead, highlight each one and delete it with the delete key. Or you can do it this way too, like that. I just like using the delete key on the keyboard, just quicker for me. Okay, now we want to save the changes. Okay, so we're almost done. We just need to put the fades on the objects. So let's start out with putting the end fades on some of this. Let's put one. Oh, first let me just drag this out to the end so the title stays. Alright, now we'll put the fades on. Let's say we fade that one. And we'll fade that one. Fade the main video with the sphere. Just kind of line these up where they were. And I don't even think we need to fade the audio. Now let's just go at the beginning here. Go back to the beginning. And we'll go ahead and fade it in a little bit. And a little bit of a fade in. Again, the audio we don't need to fade. Let's fade this title just a little bit. And we'll fade this title just a little bit. Now we'll play it one more time.
Welcome to my channel.
And you can see how it faded out at the end. One more time.
Welcome to my channel.
So that's pretty much it. Now we just need to go ahead and export it. Now to export it, all we have to do, just make sure your range markers here are at the ends of the project. And you can click this double arrow. So those range markers are there. Now let's just go and we'll save it as a Magix movie format. So export movie right here. I went to File, Export Movie. Go down to Video as Magix Video. So that's an MXV file. And that's handy so that we can just drag that file to the beginning of any of our projects for an intro. So that'll give us an instant intro. Just a way of saving our intro. So we'll go in there. And we want 1080p. Basically these settings are good. 16 by 9, 1080p, and 29.97 for the frame rate. And it's called student copy. Let's actually just go ahead and we'll call it intro 2, and we'll call it sphere. Alright. Get rid of that. And we'll go ahead and export it. Notice this is checked export selected range only, but as long as our markers are around the beginning and end, we're okay. Alright, let's go ahead and export it. And there it goes. It's going to be quick because it's only a little short video. So it won't take long at all. This is real time. It's not taking long to do. And it's done. So now if we want to put our exported movie or exported intro into a project, we can find it right here. See, it's MXV, and all we have to do to add this intro to any of our movies is just drag it in and put it in the movie like that at the beginning, and then you can put content after it. And if you play it, you'll...
Welcome to my channel.
So now you can add that to any of your movies once you get it done. And so it looks like we've pretty much completed this. It may not have as many details as I'd like to have, but it's already got, as usual, pretty long, and I don't want to keep it going on forever. So I hope it's been as helpful as I could make it. And if you have any questions, just make comments under the video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I hope you can use this on your channels. If you can use this on your channels, do it, and maybe send me a comment that you've done it so that I can go look at your video and see how your intro came out. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the tube.
Here, play.